Correspondence and announcements. Megan, do you have anything? No, I don't either. Approval of the meeting minutes from April 25th. Everybody have a chance to read them? Approve the minutes. Any discussion, any questions? All in favor of accepting the minutes, signify by saying aye.
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 One abstention. Thanks for returning, John. No, it was hard. Oh, Robin, welcome. Thank you. Okay, treasurer's report, Tina. Everybody get them today?
Did it? I did. Yes. I got it a little late, probably, like I said, but one thing I do want to tell everybody is if you look at the encumbrance report, you will notice that it is over $50,000 more than the beginning balance. It's an error that was there from the last month, which I corrected in one place, but it didn't follow through. So there, it says that it's over by $15,110.07, which is the ARPA grant. So I apologize for that. We'll get this all figured out. The actual amount of money that is in that account is that $39,479.41. That's the actual amount that's there. I apologize. I thought I corrected it, but any questions about anything? But make a motion to accept the treasurer's report. So, second, John. All in favor?
So
Aye.
first.
Yes. Okay. You'll say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Sorry. We'll be watching next month for that.
We're gonna use a different.
Friends of the library, Jan.
We are very happy as friends. We're very excited. And Megan's already kind of going to talk about this a little bit more in her report. But we've gotten the remaining amount of the grant from the state. And we have, people are begging us to spend their money. We have the offer of a grant from AT&T for $10,000. The exact kind of state of Connecticut grant. Materials are coming in. Megan and her staff have been using the money wisely and well. So we're really excited about it. And 1,000 books before kindergarten program is also starting up. So all is going well with the friends.
Can I ask the AT&T or mention, I guess, Megan, that it's specifically for services? Does it have a definition?
Yeah, I'll go over it when I run through the line after. Actually, I was very excited because I got a phone call at 5:30 tonight, and then Megan got a phone call right after me. Asking if we wanted the money. It was like, yes.
They love us. Everybody wants us to
They
spend
said
their
that,
money.
they heard that we were interested in the teen program, so it was super, right? We said, we'll find a way. That was good. Jen, anything else?
That's it.
Great, thanks, thank you. And all your programs that you try to support.
We have some very good
programs.
Yeah.
Okay, next on our agenda is the chairman update. I would like to table this until after the director's report. If that's agreeable with the board.
Well, but I believe we wanted after the finance committee. Correct? Or
So further later in the agenda.
Later in the agenda. Thank you.
you wanted after finance committee or after the
I'm excited. So thank you.
Okay. I mean, I'm fine either way, it's just I need something from Megan's computer, so.
I have it up, so
Good,
if
thank
this
you
comes
very
over,
much.
someone can share it.
Yeah, all right.
All right, okay, so I pull up any questions on the statistics?
I have one.
now ready for you.
Okay. No, first of all, I have to say that I'm staggered by the statistics. I think they're phenomenally good, and they show all these trends and so forth. So my only question, going through all the numbers and so forth, is, do you see any trends that are developing that you think might be post-COVID? Because all businesses are examining where they're at before COVID and after COVID. So really, this and say, jumping out at you that says, I think this is a fundamental change that's going to continue, or do you think it's all going to eventually level up? That's
Programming. I think, because if you look, the one area where you're not seeing those dramatic jumps back up is the door counters.
Right.
That could be an issue with our door counter, which we're looking into. Ours is a bit outdated, but it's also programming. We were getting in nearly 3 times as many people into programs, and people have gotten comfortable participating from home. And even though COVID is winding down, people are behaving as if it is winding down. I don't think everyone's running back in when they can attend a program from home. So I think it's going to change what we do in the next year or two, knowing that our space is going to be different. We don't need a room for 75 people because we know 25 of them are going to attend online. They would send them for our meeting spaces.
So you're seeing a trend that people continue with, let's say, online as opposed to coming physically into the library?
Yes.
And you're talking
Specifically
adult,
adults.
not children, right?
Yes.
Because I think programming for children kind of needs to be first.
Yes, we don't offer any hybrid for children, but we are slow to get kids back in. Part of it just is capacity, kids mind being on top of each other and children climbing over each other in a story time. Now we're much more cognizant of our space and where children move around the room. So that's going to be a little slow to come back. It's a little frustrating, but we are getting numbers back up. Just they're not going to hit 60.
But I, it's not a criticism. I just think there's some fundamental changes occurring. The question is what's going to be permanent and what's going to actually fundamentally change. It's happening all across business too. So we all know that all across business change, but it's interesting. The great thing is you have the numbers to look at it. So a lot of libraries don't, and the intensity, seeing the circulation, and obviously the digital assets are just continue to go like this, as well as a lot of the other stuff. I mean, the kids program looks like it's exploding. I mean, the books and everything else. I mean, look at the numbers. The kids stuff is like crazy. Right?
Well, I think the kid stuff is too the fact that staff are being proactive and making displays, putting books front and center. So that way when parents are checking out, there's stuff there for kids to grab. So I think that's part of that change is more the staff has been actively putting on materials for kids to do.
I have one question about the program. If it was a more hands-on type of demonstration program, do you think you could say you come to the library to participate that way?
I think we could say that. I don't think it would change. Well, I think maybe not try out anything, whether it's a hands-on program. We did participate. But it also has been convenient for us too, because we're able to get programmers who may not be able to drive here. So we've had people, I believe, like we have a CAT program. Behaviorist.
You had that like 2 weeks ago. Or is it this week?
I can look for you afterwards.
No, you don't.
But that's a program around New York City. So we have people who work with that, which we do.
We also encourage children to take out more books. I remember years
Yeah.
ago when we had a limit of how many books you could take out and you couldn't take any more, so you wrote those down. We encourage kids. I watched them check out.
I've seen some people walk out with stacks
Yeah,
of books.
it's
Not-
wonderful.
It's like, yeah, it's great to see it at children's programs. Just looking at long trends because of the business and the track so much, it's like, what's going to stick and what's going to change.
I think we're a good 6 months away from really telling that.
Yeah,
I think we have to get through the summer before we make any real predictions.
Yeah, I would say that's, I would agree with that. I don't already going back to some live programs. But then the positivity rate went up, so we had to cancel like a whole slew of things and reschedule stuff. So at this point, you know, we were trying to make some decisions as well about how we balance staff and volunteers and what would go out, what would not do. And basically, what we've come up with is this year is, we're just gonna proceed as though it's the same.
And this will be our first summer back to where we were a couple years ago. I mean, last summer we were open in ways, we restricted hours, restricted registration.
Major story circles outside.
Yeah, so I think this is the summer where we kind of see what trends return and which ones stick.
That's the numbers are great.
Yeah, I,
Summer reading programs this year.
yep, and I'll go over that, but. Any questions on the spending report?
Do you think we're going to end up the year pretty much at a zero balance or?
Working that out right now. We do have some salary money down at this point, but we also have school visits coming up a lot, you know, extra hours. We have a lot of full-timers taking vacation, which is going to require extra hours for part-timers. So Tom was when I the speaker meeting to review the budget to figure out where we are and what things need to be done that we hadn't anticipated. You know, it's time. And this might be the year to do it. Months left, but we really have to go through it. We wanted to get all the summer reading stuff plotted out first to see where we are. Okay, so then. Okay, so we have interviewed 4 candidates so far for Amy's position. We have 1 more left to interview in about a week. We will be taking down the job announcement tomorrow. I feel that the 3 of the 4 candidates are strong, so I'm very happy with that. And we don't want to wait too long because we don't want to lose anyone. Unfortunately for candidates, jobs are popping up all over the place. There are a lot of openings. We'll have a lot of negotiating power now, so we want to get this done. And I will be on vacation the last 2 weeks in June, so I really want that position. May not filled, but hired and contract signed before that date. So we've been trying to spruce up the building a bit since we reopened. You know, listening to patrons about concerns. Some people miss the quiet reading area, which is a bit of a challenge to put back in place because we reconfigured the second floor when we closed to the public. So we were able to move furniture and reconfigure what is known in the building. So we're slowly working our way back to where we were before. We're timing it with the team furniture, so that way we'll be moving a lot of things at once, and we'll have people in here to help us. So we will be going back to having the season side when that happens. But in the meantime, we put some shades in to cut back on. Yeah, they do great. If the patrons are happy with that, we might do more of the windows. There's a very affordable solution to the problem of very bright, very warm in the afternoons down in that area. One of the reasons we had liked moving in the first place was that people fell asleep there a lot in the afternoon. We really didn't want that during COVID. You know, I mean, a lot of people walk around town, they walk to the library, they have lunch, and then they come here and they sit down with paper. And, you know, you're sitting in the sun and it's really warm. So we tended to pre-COVID have a lot of sleepers after lunchtime, which never bothered anybody. We didn't mind as long as we could hear them sleeping. But during COVID, it was something we had to eliminate. And we're not looking to bring it back, but we do want to bring back a comfortable place to sit. Because right now, when you come off the elevator at the top of the stairs, that's where the seating is. And the computers are where the quiet reading area. So we're looking to move some out. We have applied for a grant to replace the adult seating, which we did not get. But we do have options moving forward, which we'll explore the next couple of months to bring some more comfortable seating.
Or like the egg chairs. One of those egg chairs.
I've had such a struggle because everybody loves the egg chairs, but
Yeah.
not everyone can get out of the egg chairs. So we need to find a balance. So actually, the company we were using or the design company we were using for the team project, they delivered a couple of chairs upstairs
To try.
for us to try out. Yes, we have them for a couple more days. So if you're at the meeting, don't plan to come upstairs. They are fabric because we want them to absorb sound. A lot of the team furniture coming in is high-grade commercial fabric because teams are left. And we need ways to keep that volume. And there's yes, so one of the complaints, well, not complaints, just comments we received was the fabric's a little scratchy. But it is because it's designed to repel liquid and it's designed to be easy to clean dirt off of. So we want it like that. If we got a much softer. No, well, we also don't want something that's gonna pill easily or be difficult to clean. We have a spot remover machine to take care of stains. So we feel that this is a good solution, but it's not the softest furniture you're going to sit in. But over time, it will get very comfortable. We also didn't go with high backs because of cleaning, you know, yes. So they're lower, and I think that some people do prefer the high back for the comfort of sitting, relaxing. I think that's one of the reasons the egg chairs are pretty popular. is that you kind of,
Cause you can cocoon it in.
yes, and those were nice because those absorb sound too, the way
Yeah.
the back is designed.
Yeah.
But we did have patrons who saw those who were very concerned we were going to be doing this. I never sat in them, but they were not happy with the idea that those might end up on the adult side of the toilet. So,
Cause of how low they are.
because of how low, and also too, it's a look, aesthetics. So we're trying to balance out.
So you're not buying lazy boy chairs.
I find my staff out there. So the lockers have been utilized. We're learning how to pull statistics from them right now. So we were able to get one paper. But we had people calling the week before we started them asking to schedule pickups and remind everybody to wait a week. The first weekend we had it open, I saw two people in a matter of 15 minutes while I was outside the building using lockers. So we're getting a lot of positive feedback. We've had no complaints on them so far. So we're very happy about that. And so we'll see what happens next month. I'm going to start building that into my report. So you can just keep it on yeah. So the team grant, we got the funds. Diane very much helped. We got the funding situation sorted. We have the $75,000 now. We made the Project Lab or Makerspace equipment. We got the bulk of that ordered. So one of the 3D printers is here. The TV stand is here. The Glowforge laser engraver is here. So half the equipment has come in. We're waiting on the PS5 bundle and one more 3D printer. And then what'll happen next is we need to purchase all the materials for them. So filaments, engraving materials, things like that. Headphones for the PS5 so we don't have the team area. So that will be done in the next 2 weeks.
So is the PS5 an actual PlayStation? The kids are gonna come here and play the video game?
The objective of the grant is to create a place for teens to interact and socialize and get them wandering around town.
Right.
One of our staff members donated a bunch of gaming equipment to see how it would work out. We've had a very positive response, and what's nice is they're developing relationships with the staff and then starting to attend other programs. So it's really become a marketing tool for getting them in and getting the other
Are there
programs.
time limits and stuff?
Right now, it's a program we run once a week for an hour.
Oh,
We only aides with staff members. And furniture, so we have all the furniture ordered. We are overspent on furniture by roughly $4,000. And we did that for a reason. We had the money that we had set aside for second floor renovation. And we have library operations money. We overspent because we cannot guarantee everything will arrive by June 30th. And the state has said it has to be by June 30th. And we don't, if it's not, we have to return the funds. Their feeling was that you're getting another $75,000 July 1st, so you'll be able to cover the cost. But we don't want to return funds. It's never a good idea to return grant funds. You're less likely to get a grant later on when you do that. We're running into supply chain issues, so we've had to be very diligent in purchasing and work with the vendors to make sure that what we ordered is not a custom purchase. Make sure that fabrics and vinyls are in stock. So we've had to go back and forth quite a bit over the last 2 weeks. Tom put a lot of time into working with design, fabric and materials lined up. So we've been assured everything will be good in time, but as much as they can assure us, there's always that possibility that something will not be in time. So
I think that was wise, you were just mentioning. And yet, we have the money coming in July 1. It's not like putting it on a credit card, right? You know you're gonna pay it off.
Yep.
Exactly.
So I was hoping to have a furniture presentation for you today. However, over the last 2 weeks, we had to make a lot of changes. So I have a draft but not a final presentation. But when I have that done, I'll send that off to the friends and to the board to see everything. Summer reading. We're in the process of getting all the school visits set up. This year we're doing Berry, Rockwell, and Johnson. We're not going to do the middle school this year. It's a bit more than we can handle taking on, being down a full timer, and training 2 new part timers. So, but I met with the media specialist for the high school and for the digital coordinator for the school district, and we went over summer reading plans, what they were hoping that we'd be able to do for them, and what we were hoping they would be able to do for us. So they're going to be promoting our program through all of their schools and sending out all of our promotional materials. And we will be making sure that we have all of their summer reading materials available.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's
good.
great that
That's awesome.
we have such a good relationship with them.
That's awesome.
So, yep, so we will start going May 31st after Memorial Day. It'll take us about 2.5 weeks to see every class. Part of that is on our end from staffing, and the other part is they have field trips and field days and things like that, so we have to work around.
So do you actually visit every class, or do they gather like the whole first grade together?
Nope, we visit every class. When they have to double up, I usually go and I do double up classes, because it's very hard managing 45 to 50 kids. And we've developed such a great relationship that it's a great opportunity for the media specialists, because it gives them time to get organized. So we oftentimes end up taking over the whole class. So we'll do our presentation, and then we'll do an activity. Like this year, we're doing a sandwich hunt with the kids. So that way, they also get to spend time with us. And when they come in, they recognize us and they're really excited. So, you know, it benefits us. But this year, we have Bailey, who is a certified teacher. So she will be doing coding classes. And Tom will be going as well this year. So
Just gonna ask, if you do need help, I can always come and help.
I can't, because
I'm a certified teacher.
I understand, but with the schools, we can't send volunteers to do work computer staff.
Okay, perfect.
So, however, this is a great chance for lots of staff to get out of the building and participate in this, and it gets, you know, they all get excited to see. So are they required to do that, or do they volunteer? Some staff are required to, others volunteer to help out. So this year we have Bailey going, Claire going, Tom will be doing some, Alexandra will be doing something, and I think I will be doing too. It is, and it's good to have, the more staff members that go, the more recognizable faces faces that is.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's more chance of a child coming in and recognizing a staff member as opposed to having one staff member. Yeah, and it's a really long day if we send just one person. So it's nice to break it up. So in the past, I've assigned people to specific days, but this year I broke it up into more 2-hour and 3-hour increments. Because last year, especially coming out of COVID, and remember, because you get to the younger grades, you have a lot of kids who've never actually been in a preschool environment or school environment, and it's their first year, so they tend to have struggle still to sit still at the end of the year or be part of the group. So last year was exhausting. So we're gonna break it up. You know, too, is because we want the staff to love doing it too. They burn out. No, so I'd rather prioritize breaking it up and bringing a few more part-timers in to help out than leaving it all on two people. And because we have to double the classes too, it's not like we send one person and they do class. It's two people, two different classes, because we also can't always get them into the same room. So it's a bit of a juggling act. So my last thing, actually, but anybody have any questions before I move on to the last one?
I have one. You said you were doing gaming night. Do they have to have a library card to do gaming night?
No, it's a game story.
I know.
Story, what is it? Gaming story time. It's,
Oh.
you just, like any other program, you just sign up for the program and you come, and the kids play together and they compete against each other.
On the gaming system or on
Yes.
the PlayStation?
Yeah.
Oh, they play against each
Yeah,
other.
so we use the
Again,
Magic Lab, and
Do they need a library card to do
you
that?
don't need library cards for any of our programs.
That's just the AT&T that restricted.
No, I told you I would talk about it and I didn't, so, so like the, team grant.
Yep.
We had to accept the funds before getting any real clarification as to what it is. So they want to focus on teens and they want to focus on the digital divide. So we explained to them that every teen in the school district gets a device. They already have access to the Wi-Fi here. So we have to get a little creative. So I met with Tom and Helen and talked about what this would mean. So Tom would like to purchase a laptop card and allow us to run programs with teams throughout the building and in the project lab with the laptops. So that's the current request. We still don't know if it meets their criteria, but based on our starting conversations, we think it will. We find out this week. But what's nice about it too is it gives us more flexibility. Having computer stations that are only able to use stations, it costs us space. So by having the ability to reduce the number of computer stations and hand out laptops instead, means that we have more flex space that we can use and burn as needed. And we want to move the project lab upstairs. The space downstairs was good for our original purpose, but we have a lot more equipment now for the team grant, and we need a lot more space. So we want to flip the technical services area upstairs, turn into the project lab, and staff area downstairs. But create a staff space where we can still book the room for meetings. So if So if any of you have been back to the project lab, it's like a square with all the way up to it. So yeah, so what we would do is turn that into, in essence, a closet where the staff computers would be stored and not used, processing equipment, and then we could book that space. Needs it, but also have space that staff can go if they need to have a meeting together or processing needs to be done. Computers need to be updated, things like that. Because the other thing is, some of you might know, if you have two 3D printers running and a laser engraver, you need a window to be able to
Exhaust.
So we do have we purchase air filters with the equipment, but they still highly encourage having a larger space and having windows. So this would allow us to do that because the Sealy House windows are quite old, they're open, they're closed. And then this way too is we would be able to store more equipment in one location. And what would be nice is it's on the second floor, so we can have a staff member available to supervise anyone who wanted to use it, so people could come in and use it without it being part of a program. So if you needed to use a Cricut cutter, you could schedule a time to use a cricket cutter wouldn't have to be during a program. And then also too, is it's closer to the teen area, so teens would be able to flow in and out, and this equipment came from the teen grant, so we want to make sure that teens have access to all of it. So moving it upstairs would be really desirable. We had talked about doing it a few years down the road as we developed the project lab, but we feel like we accelerated now.
So for all of the, I mean, I love the equipment coming in, but what is the actual plan to like start offering, what would be a timetable to like have people use this? So
It's an ambitious goal of the staff, but we feel like September is.
I think it's gonna attract a lot of teens.
We do, and two, the next step will be doing some software purchasing, so that way we can start offering digital design classes, getting more hands-on with 3D printers, letting teens and adults operate some of this equipment, and not just doing the design department and not getting to be part of the creation. And that's really important, because the first half of the grant, the first year, was really about equipment and creating the environment. The second half of the grant needs to be now about the programming and the interaction. So that's why September is the goal. And we're ahead on tagging, so that helps a lot. Yes. Our staff is very competitive. So, we are done with children except for media. Speaking of trends, different statistics, media is not our bread and butter anymore. DVD circulation, audiobook circulation, it's down, but so is spending. Because if you think about it, like if you see something on a streaming service, there's no guarantee it's coming out on DVD. And it could be a year before it does come out on DVD. So we're seeing more people asking for more obscure titles than popular shows and movies that come out.
How's Canopy?
Canopy, we have about 20 to 30 registrants right now. We've spent probably about $50. So, but like any digital service we introduce, it takes about a year before we really get.
It's a good product. I like it.
Yeah.
I've used it.
Well, our plan is in the fall to use it to stream movies.
Yeah.
So for the summer, because the summer we want to be light and fun, we're just showing blockbuster movies. But come the fall, we'd like to show some of the foreign films, some of the independents, which you can get off the Canopy. And because we have a movie license through the state, we can use that to show movies from Canopy. And that'd be a great way for us to promote Canopy when people come to the movies.
I think what you said, this trend is really critical, is that a lot of people have Netflix or Amazon Prime or something else, so some of the stuff they've been traditionally in the past, they can see in their own homes with smart TVs. But a Canopy mix, which is a different mix of documentaries and indie films and stuff like that, has a broad appeal to people because they just don't see it because they're going to walk. Really good, so.
We're still have people asking for Acorn back, so we're having a hard time getting people to accept we can do nothing about Acorn and jumping over to Canopy, but it was handy. I would want to do too, so I'm very sympathetic to anyone who complains, but unfortunately, no leverage on that. So that is the current plan for the AT&T grant, is for laptops and charging stations, because really the charging station is probably the most important part. Because there's nothing worse than having, at home, you have your phone, your laptop, your e-reader, things like all plugged into outlets. The last thing they want is 12 laptops to move out. With a charging station, they all slide into one cabinet, and that cabinet gets plugged into a wall. So that way, there's.
That's what the school uses.
Yeah.
Schools use it for homework.
Yeah, and it's such a lifesaver.
So,
So that's a big part of our purchase plan.
and so those would be, instead of buying more computers, I think that makes a lot of sense, actually.
So perhaps we can have a board meeting.
Yes, we could. That would be fantastic.
They have a board what?
Game night. I'm utterly dreadful at video games. So my last
I
thing
bet
of the
it's not
evening.
video.
We can teach you how to play. Farmers market, we really want to go back. We'd love some volunteers. It will be the Saturdays again.
9 to 11.
Yeah, 9 to 1. We'd probably do 1 or 2 a month, between June and August, depending on staffing. So what we would do is send one staff member and possibly a volunteer or a board member. So it would be, Saturday, 1 or 2 Saturdays in June, July, and August, probably 1 in August. By the end of August, most people are away. And then it will be from 9:30 to 1 o'clock.
July and August are the biggest months. Farmers market.
Well, that's what I'm thinking 2 in July, but the problem is the staffing. I have to send a staff
But
member.
June is not so big. July, I'm just telling you. 'cause I'm not-
Kristen keeps all the statistics from years past and when we do well, and when we did not do well, so we kind of base it off that. But also too, is I only have so many people I can sign up Saturday. People don't sign up for extra Saturdays. So typically it has to be a weekend where I have 2 supervisors here.
So can you tell me we actually do?
Well, Chris,
Yeah, I'd love to do them, except I work Saturdays.
oh, Kristen was really hoping you'd be back.
Or can we go, some of us can take just one trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I don't need someone to
I
commit to
could
all.
probably do 9 to 12, so,
That would work. I mean, 'cause that's the busiest time.
yeah, I could do that.
All right, so I'll sign you up for one. I'll send you the dates. Let me know.
Chris, could you tell us what it was
Yeah.
like and what you
What do
actually
you actually
did?
do?
Yeah.
Chris, when you're there, what do you actually go?
Yeah.
Other than stand on the daily fair.
No, it's 7 to 10. It's 10 to set up, and then there's a table with a lot of handouts and things on it. And basically sit there and people wander around and come on up and they go, it's like we're from the library, we have all these different services. And, you know, like you have a library card, if not, we can make a spot for you. And it's a Wi-Fi connection, so we can. The card.
Well, we actually bought one that's portable. So if it ever gets here, by June 30th,
It's a network connection, so we can show them stuff on the computers or the menus, the homepage. Or things on there.
and prior, so that was last year, right? Or 2 years ago.
Last year.
So the year before COVID, we brought a face painter one weekend. We brought the therapy dog or the reading dogs, so kids could read books, and then the books the kids picked, they got to take home with them to keep. So we try to add in some additional attractions to the table. But I know it's just nice to be able to talk to
More
people.
explaining programs available.
I have a portable.
Yeah, and also it helps too, because there's always this kind of divide people on the Stony Hill side of town, feel neglected, they tend to go to Brookfield. So by going over there and talking to them and meeting face to face, depending on some of them come back over to us.
There are a lot of parents too, and they've got kids, well, how many kids do you have, you know, the library, you know, we got programs for them, summer.
Yeah.
It's a nice interaction.
We did in the past, I'm not gonna commit to that until I have a full-time license. And that was always a little hectic. So much attraction about it, yeah, because if you go to go there to eat, yeah. That's really hard to get a Friday morning staff.
In one time she did the free books, and I don't know why, you couldn't even give the free books away, like they didn't want them. I was like,
At the food truck Friday.
and
But
the
you know
food
what
truck
it is,
Friday, the kids.
As having younger kids at the time we did that, the last thing I wanted to do is be responsible for a library book on top of trying to get food, trying to get a place to
No, but
sit.
they were free books for them to take home. They weren't, it wasn't a library book that they had to take
No,
out.
no, I understand, but it's one more thing to keep track of, you know,
Yeah,
Food Truck
yeah.
Fridays, a big
Yeah.
event,
True,
there's lots of
True,
people.
true.
It
Yeah.
seems like a great marketing place, but it just,
But they're too
Yes.
busy, they're too busy.
we got a lot more traction at the.
Yeah, the farmer's market, because the farmer's market are the regulars, so they see something new and they're like, ooh, what's that over there? Whereas food truck Friday is just people looking at food.
It's a community, the Saturday's a community.
It
It's
really
really,
is, it
Yeah.
really is. I mean, you have the same people that come week after week. But I will say, once corn and tomatoes are in, that's when that market is busy, and that's not until July. Because until then,
I gotta check the schedule.
well, I'm gonna have Kristen put I told her to wait on putting a schedule together until I talk to you guys to make sure there is some interest. But we've already reached out to them. They said just let them know the dates. So I just need Kristen to put together a schedule of when her and one other full-time are available. I'll send that
We'll have to
Set up a
do
place to have a couple people there.
Yeah.
Know what everything.
Yeah, because we do, yes, we do provide a tent, we do provide chairs, we don't make you stand in the sun the whole time. But yeah, I think it's a nice.
It's actually a
better
fun
if
meeting.
we did two, 9 to 11 or 11 to 1.
No, because I can't keep us out there until. Oh, I'm sorry, you mean, so we do 9:30 to 1, but usually by 12:30, they have to be packing up just because it slows down. I think that your busiest is like 9 to.
9 is the busiest.
Yeah,
Without a doubt, there are people waiting
Yeah.
to start.
You can't get a parking spot at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, because that's because I said 1.
No, Megan shows up there.
Well, yeah, there's nothing worse than going to the farmer's market, and never want to tell you that they're overdue books.
But it doesn't, like, they don't run out of stuff, most of the places, maybe corn and not, like, Heidi's and something like that.
Bread. Definitely bread.
Oh, that guy runs.
Carrot cake.
All right, so, any other questions, please?
Yeah, I have one comment, possible recommendation.
Yeah.
It's nothing to do with it.
That's okay.
After we had the finance meeting, I wandered over by our new neighbors here where construction is.
Yes.
And, I got a real strong library signal over there. So if I was renting one of those apartments, I would pay for Wi-Fi. I would just piggyback off.
We have discussed that. We are exploring options on how to handle that. We do restrict how much data can be pulled by one device at a time. So with the distance they are, it would not be desirable if they wanted to stream any service. However, we did get that CDN grant to have our network evaluated, so that may change. And if that does, then we'll need to talk about how we handle our network. One thought was dropping the data that can be pulled when we're closed. Because we do have people that come after hours in the parking lot and they need our Wi-Fi network to check their email and to do things like that. And we don't want to put an end to that. We really encourage people to use the property for Wi-Fi. But
My recommendation was, before they get populated there, they want to just monitor the usage.
yes,
And then once they start to get populated, see if there is a problem.
Yeah.
See if the usage really starts to go up there.
But if you're at your house, would you want to be on a public network?
well, not everybody knows
You
It's
can
that.
get it for free. You can get nothing.
It's not secure though.
Yeah, but people, not everybody
Most
thinks about
people,
that.
not everybody needs.
Definitely.
But we do track usage because we have to, because if we jump too high, then we're moved into another price point. That's why we actually have a cap on how much data can be pulled at a time, because we really don't want to move into the next. So Tom's very diligent about keeping an eye on it.
So that was discussion about, since all the parking's going to disappear from the restaurants this summer and with next door. And someone mentioned, I don't know if Mike was you or Mary said that there's a, what, we're selecting to put up restrictions for library parking or something.
So we have signage. I need to go over and get it approved. Pre-COVID, we'd already had conversations with them and they had given us the go-ahead. But since that was 2 years ago, I want to go back and make sure that we're on the same page before I have those signs
Will that be like library patrons only?
during library
During
hours.
library.
So there will be some pushback when those signs go up. So we want to make sure we have the support of the
So
town.
someone like me who comes here to the library and then goes over next door, I can't do that anymore?
There's no way.
Okay.
I mean,
It's
all I
for
wanna
the
know.
power, we call it power legitimacy, which means there's a sign there, so some people are gonna follow, and some don't. You should have the power of legitimacy out there, and some people would try out and say, not. The thing is, since the parking behind the town hall is never used, it's gonna reach a point, that hopefully they'll do some signs that say additional parking behind the town hall, if they will walk that far.
It's,
They won't.
They won't.
it's also, it's not clearly defined or easy to see. I know the first time I went there at night, I drove by it twice. I'm like, where is the entrance?
I
And then I
know.
tried going in from the other side and it was, so it's not,
I think just, you
Always
know, some
obvious.
signage, I think that would be.
Yeah.
good.
no, we haven't. We just want to make sure that we have the full support of the town. So that way.
We did talk about in the winter, people parking late in the day and then a snowstorm and then you can't get through.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't, I
Well,
think,
that they could ticket.
That's the
now.
town, yeah, that's a town thing.
supposed to park here overnight, so every so often we go to call the town, because we have people that are here for days. We don't call just because someone left their car here for hours, but after a week, we start making phone calls. So,
When the RV's pulling.
no, we just have, we have people who live in the apartments.
No,
and
I
things.
get it.
So,
But I think it's gonna be a real issue. So
oh,
Definitely.
and we here, this is a lot of apartments.
there's a lot of apartments and there's the restaurants. You know, we live out the street, we walk my wife and I walk to town. On Sundays, this place is packed. There's not a parking
Yep.
place over there, there's not a parking place over there, there's not a parking place before this. Thank you.
Another issue along those same lines, when we're discussing it, Megan, is we need to pursue the camera on the building, especially once this building over here is.
So Public Works is short staffed right now. We have put in several tasks to have. When we updated the security system, all the 2 cameras, the exterior ones were finished before their staffs showed themselves due to injury. So we're reminding them monthly things.
Is there anything as a board that we can do to help you with that? Feel confident? I know you work well with Public Works.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
want
wanna
to
upset
about, yeah, but I think it's important to get that camera out there before the building.
No, we have a couple of other avenues we can go down. We met with some Public Works last week, so.
I know I'm going to leave you alone with it because I think we handle it well, but we need to be cognizant that we do need cameras.
Remember, the only camera we do have though is on the front door. We don't have cameras on the parking lot. We don't have cameras inside the buildings. It's just on the other
That's
side.
it. So any plan for the parking lot at all? Any point in time?
Look, not by us.
No, but I think it's something that we need to be on top of.
We've asked the police to speak to the town about it. Because we talked to them about it, and we said they would. And so, but that's capital project. So,
You know, the systems are so inexpensive today. I hate to say it, but I installed my house for them.
yes, we are not allowed to
You're not
install our
allowed to
own
do that.
system. The town has to do it.
Okay.
So, yeah, we can no, we do not. All right,
Thank you.
it's 6:50, so I'm gonna end where I am and move on to the next.
This meeting is much too long.
Yes.
You don't like when they're short? No.
I think it's Tina, you're next. So thank you, Megan. I'd like to move on to the finance committee, and I would like to suggest we go into executive session. I entertain a motion. Jan?
Session 2.
Thank you for sharing.
Make a
And I
motion.
would like to invite Megan to stay in the meeting.
I'd like to make a motion to, for the finance committee, go into executive session and to invite Megan to join. I'll second that.
The recording has.
All in favor?
Mary, did you find out what we have to do? Or you're just gonna text me and let me know when you're done, like we talked about?
Stay there, you should be able to get right back on when we're finished. But if you, I can text you if you want to be able to walk around.
No, that's okay, I can wait.
She's fine. She's in the meeting. She doesn't have to.
Oh, yeah, she's just not gonna record it.
Yeah.
So it'll be live. So she'll be live without a recording, we'll just start recording afterwards. I see.
All right.
I see. I don't think you have to go off.
Okay.
Have the language from the committee.
Yes. Do you need it?
I will in a moment or two. So I would love it if you could read that for us when we need to. Okay?
Hold on one moment. Sure, I can pause.
So this is going to be the finance.
I can't stop it.